Talking about weaponizing the IRS. So we got senior Democrats in Congress have agreed to raise their proposed tax reporting threshold from banks from $600 to $10,000. Now that sounded like, okay, well, that's a little bit more reasonable because they want to get, quote, high net worth individuals. But it's cumulative. It's not a one-time payment. It's over the course of a year. So that, of course, they can look at anything.
If you spend $1,400 a month on groceries over a 12-month period of time, you're going to fall into the IRS net, and you're going to be part of the IRS's military analysis of you. That is ridiculous, and I still don't see how that catches tax evaders.
I don't think the IRS should have unfettered access to your account for any amount of money, not $10, without probable cause. It's your money in a bank. I mean, let's think about this for a moment. Why are we giving the IRS this authority?
This makes no sense. Nope. It is one step in the direction, I would argue, of moving toward a police state.
Today's new proposal, this is Janet Yellen, reflects the administration's strong belief that we should zero in on those at the top of the income scale who don't pay taxes they owe while protecting the American workers by setting the bank account threshold at $10,000, which is not what the amount is. It's $10,000 over the course of a year. It could be $800 a month to your rent, to your, so many different, I could think of 100 things, and providing an exemption for wage earners like teachers and firefighters. Now, Andy, they may think we're crazy here, and she's applauding this, but if you were going after the rich with loopholes, first of all, $10,000 wouldn't be the number over the course of a year.
The Internal Revenue Service. That's the organization that is dreaded and feared because the power to tax and the power to snoop on your money is the power to destroy you. That's the organization that is the most feared. This legislation gives the IRS the unfettered opportunity, without probable cause, without reasonable suspicion, without anything, to invade a contract between you and a bank and to make a decision whether or not you're going to be audited because the transactions over a period of a year aggregate more than $10,000.
There's no probable cause. There's no warrant. There's no nothing. It's just the IRS get to and first of all, the banks don't want to do this because the paperwork involved in this would be outrageous. But the violations here, Harry, of civil liberties in and of itself is an outrage if this passes. And if it does pass, by the way, and is signed into law, if it does, we're challenging it. Because there is no due process here.
If you think about all of the farmers, all of the ranchers in the United States, virtually every single month, some of them are expending $5,000 or $10,000 on equipment, on fuel, and other necessary items. And they will now be subject to regulation by the IRS. And keep in mind, in the back of the Green New Deal, is a proposal that is floating, but has not yet been announced, to crack down, for instance, on farmers, to crack down on cattle ranchers. And one of the ways of doing that is to empower the IRS to go after certain transactions that are seen as quote-unquote evil by individuals like AOC, Elizabeth Warren, or whomever.
The American Banking Association CEO said even with the modifications announced today, remember it was 600, now they said 10,000 cumulative, this proposal goes too far by forcing financial institutions to share with the IRS private financial data from millions of customers not suspected of cheating on their taxes, which is the whole point of what this is supposed to be about. Now, Than, it's in Congress right now. What is the status of this legislation?
Speaker Pelosi has said she wants to consider this bill by October 31st. Now, I will tell you that's about the fourth time that she set a deadline for consideration of this, so it may not happen by then. But I'll tell you, Jay, this isn't the only mechanism by which they're trying to get the IRS back involved in the lives of everyday Americans. Remember, they're also trying to repeal the lowest learner rule, which was a victory we won after those cases you were talking about that said the IRS cannot discriminate.
This is just to get the government into your personal checking account. I'm not even talking about your savings account. They're going to be in your checking account. This is what's so absurd about what they're doing. We know what happens when the IRS gets unchecked power. It's not good.
In the days that I worked for the government, you had to have probable cause in order for the government to look into your affairs. This IRS measure that is being now floated and that we need to really suppress, it would give the IRS the unfettered discretion to look into your everyday life in your bank accounts and see what you're doing so that they can then just check up on you. This is unconstitutional at its base.
No matter where they land, no matter the amount or the criteria, why in the world at this moment, after the track record of abuse, would we give the IRS any more power? I would suggest to you there's no appropriate amount or criteria to add to this.
I want a petition up on this. I want to bombard Capitol Hill with this information. I want to make sure we've got legal briefs ready to go to challenge this, Andy. We got to get on this. We're on it. You can rest assured. We're not going to let this bill become law. We're going to fight back. This is IRS abuse at best. Could be much worse.